right, welcome back to Top 5 Vinyl, where we show love to vinyl owners. Today I'm here with Danny Sutter. How's it going, sir?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. So I understand that you have some music. You're into music. You have a band or you have like some music that you perform?
Yeah, I've got a solo project called Vanity Sleeps, and sometimes it's just me with a guitar, sometimes it's me and a band. So
Nice.
got an EP that was released last summer, and a
Okay.
single that was released this spring, and then
Okay.
an album coming out this fall.
Nice. What's the name of the album?
The album will be Vanity Sleeps. It'll be a self-titled album.
And how
So
can people find the album or find you?
yeah, it will be on all your streaming services. You can follow Vanity Sleeps on Facebook is kind of the easiest place. And then, any streaming service. And then if you're on Facebook, you'll see where the vinyl will be available this
Mm,
fall, and that's once that album comes out.
nice. That's cool. Okay. All right, cool. So before we get started, this is YouTube, so I have to let everybody know. Make sure to subscribe, like the video, tell all your friends, blah, blah, blah. If you're looking for an interview, you can send me an email to top5vinyl@gmail.com. And without that being said, Danny, growing up, was there a record player in the house?
Oh yeah. My parents told me I was putting records on when I was like 2 years old. So
Mm.
I probably scratched up all my dad's records.
Okay. So was your dad the primary music listener or the record listener in the
Both,
house?
both my parents really, and they were really into classic rock. They were like Kansas, I think, was their favorite band when I was
Mm.
growing up. So I listened to a lot of them,
Okay.
a lot of 70s rock.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Um, Throughout your vinyl career, do you have like a favorite brand of record player, or how does that work?
I had kind of a junky one through like high school and college, and then a few years back, I got I went to a local record store and picked out a Techniques and a Pioneer.
Mm.
I actually have two. I've got one at home and then one that sits on my desk at work that I
Mm.
play with headphones. So got a Techniques at work and then an old Pioneer from I think it's from the 70s here.
Oh wow. Okay. And do you have a favorite place to listen to vinyl? Is it here? Is it at work? Like, where do you prefer listening to your vinyl?
I mean, I listen to it all the time. My favorite place actively is at home.
Mm.
So, I've got this old vintage setup that just sounds great, cranking it loud when
Hmm.
you're away and just sitting there actively listening.
All right, cool. Um, do you remember the first vinyl record that you bought?
I think it was probably the concept album of Jesus Christ Superstar
Mm. Okay.
back when I was in high school, and
Mm.
I was in the musical, and I just bought it to like, hey, let's grab that since I'm in this show, and then I was like, wow, this is really cheap. So I started buying records because they were cheap back then in the late
Mm.
90s.
Mm.
They're not so cheap anymore.
Right.
But I've already got the collection, so I'm gonna keep going with it.
Okay. And do you have like a favorite place to buy vinyl?
We got a couple good record stores in Peoria.
Okay.
There's Younger Than Yesterday, and then there's Ribbon Records. Ribbon is all used. It's pretty cool. They've got like a vintage clothing shop attached to it, and then Younger Than Yesterday is, they have a mix of used and new vinyl. It's
Mm.
cool.
Okay. And on a single trip to the record store, do you remember the most amount of vinyl that you walked out with?
Oh man. Well, so I actually there's this one time that I bought a whole truckload of records from this guy that was closing a record store. So I
Wow.
bought like 4 or 5 thousand records and
What?
through them. Yeah, slowly. It took me a couple of years to get through them. And I took everything I didn't want to one of our record stores and they gave me credit. So I walked out of that one with like, a few $100 of stuff that
Wow.
I actually wanted as opposed to stuff I didn't want.
So
So
many questions. Wow. How do you transport that many records and where do you store them?
yeah, it was a pickup truck and my whole house was filled with them. It was a pain.
Hmm.
Then I went through and I cataloged all of them and listened to them and was like, do I want this or no? And it was a multi-year project. So
Wow. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Okay. So I guess my next question is, how hard was it for you to narrow down your favorite five?
oh my gosh, like there are some of my favorite artists are not included, right? Like I don't have any Fiona Apple, I don't have any Iron and Wine, and like they're some of my favorite artists, and they're not there.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's an impossible task, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
And with that being said, this is top five vinyl. Danny, your fifth, number five. Can you show me your number five album?
All right, number five is XO by Elliott Smith.
Mm,
And as far as like the music goes, this would be like probably higher than number five. It'd probably be like number two or three.
mm,
But this pressing is just kind of okay.
mm.
So that's why it got pushed down to five.
Okay.
But love Elliott Smith, huge influence on my music. Listen to this album all the time.
Favorite song on the album?
Independence Day.
Okay. And what year was this? I don't know if it says it on the back or you just happen to know.
Yeah, it was like 90, is the like mid to late 90s. I don't know. It's his third album.
Mm,
No, fourth album. Every single one of his albums is fantastic. But
mm.
this is kind of the one that I fell in love with first and listened to the most. So
Nice. Okay. All right, cool. So that was your number five. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number four.
all right, number four. This was an easy one to pick because I knew that I was gonna have to show Albert King's Born Under a Bad Sign.
Hmm,
It's an old blues album. It's actually a compilation album.
mm,
So Albert King recorded this with Booker T and the MGs as his backing band down at Stax in Memphis, and the Memphis Horns were there as well. Absolutely fantastic record, so good. Probably my favorite blues album of all time. And this was the I want to say it was like 2019 Record Store Day remaster, done in mono from the original tapes by Kevin Gray. Was out of print for a long time before that. So
mm,
this is the album that when somebody comes over and they're like, "Oh, you got records. What do they sound like?" I'm like, "Okay, you got to hear this thing with these
mm,
strings or the strings, the horns." Booker T and the MGs sound fantastic on this thing. So
mm.
great.
Anything on the back of that record?
And it's pretty plain, just a little story
So,
about the album. Yeah, it's pretty plain. I mean, this when this came out, it was it had to be the late '60s, so it's you know not a whole lot of packaging involved with it. So
gotcha. All right, cool. All right, so that was your number four.
yeah.
Let's go ahead and take a look at your number three.
All right, number three, I went with "The Harrow and the Harvest" by Gillian Welch.
Mm,
Uh, Gillian is one of the best songwriters out there, in my opinion. She's a Americana artist, backed by her partner Dave Rawlings, who is probably my favorite guitar player of all time.
mm,
And this album just sounds incredible. It's so clear. It's like you're sitting in the room with the two of them. I think every track is just the two of them together.
mm,
What's really cool about this one, so the CD release, the cover is all black and white, but if you can see that very well, but the
mm, mm,
vinyl cover is all colored in with just these brilliant colors, and I don't know, it sounds fantastic. It looks great. It's heavy, feels good. Really excited I get to see Gillian next month for the first
mm.
time. So
Where's that going to be at?
Evanston, so up North Chicago burbs.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay. All right, so that was your number three. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number two.
All right, this was a toughie because I could have picked three or four different albums by this guy.
Mm,
But I went with The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the
mm,
Spiders from Mars by David Bowie. Was really close between this and Low. I went with this one because this is an original pressing from
mm.
it came out. So sounds so good. What more can you say? It's David Bowie.
Nice. All right. And for the grand finale, who do we have for number one?
Again, could have gone multiple ways. I vacillate back and forth between Kid A and Rainbows and OK Computer by
Mm,
Radiohead. This is the 20th anniversary. OK, not OK. So it has a third. So it breaks the main album into two discs, and then it has a third disc, which is B sides and outtakes. Um, Sounds so good. Absolutely pristine audio quality, and it's just probably my favorite album of all time.
nice. Okay. Okay. All right, cool. So, Danny, again, can you just let the people know where they can find you in your album?
Yes, Vanity Sleeps, and it's everywhere. So
Nice. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, sir.
absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, of course. We'll talk soon.
All right. Have a good
All right,
one.
man. Have a good one.